This story is called Cleaning Lady to the Stars, and it features a real-life character, Billy Sunday. If you don't know who Billy Sunday is, and you like Hellfire, you might want to get on YouTube and check him out. But now back to the narrator of the story. Call me Isabel. At least that's what my card says. I'd like it better if you call me Cleaning Lady to the Stars, a.k.a. the Professors at St. Meinhof's. They move in here trailing a van full of kitchen gear they don't know how to use, wearing their attitudes like tiaras. One of them got the card made up for me because she thought it was cute. I thought it was embarrassing, but she was right about one thing. You gotta have a business card if you want to scrub professors' toilets. They check references too. How you like the Midwest? I asked the new customers, first time I show up with a mop. You mean the Mid-Waste? They asked me where you go to eat around here. You go to your well-stocked kitchen is what I'm thinking, but I point them to Alfred's Seafood Lounge, and it's not entirely my fault if they swallow a little botulism with their sushi. The land that time forgot, the professors call Winesburg. They say they'll only be here a couple of years because they're really East Coast people or West Coast people, or if they're truly obnoxious, Texas people. 20 years later, here's where they're still parked with their tenure and their season football tickets and the same 40 pounds the rest of us put on since high school. Meanwhile, their paychecks have been getting fatter, not that they ever do any work I can see, and they moved on out to the subdivisions with the fruity-tooty gazebos and the houseboats, just in case a marauding army's passing by. All right, I say to myself, all right, let me play some Taylor Swift nice and loud as a consolation. Nothing like a little young blood to perk up your spirits while you're brushing the high-paid shit off Her Highness's throne. But if somebody's doing her research at home, I'm not allowed even that consolation. Oh, Izzy, just a smidge lower. Well, maybe a little lower than that. This new customer down in the miserable Victorian with the sagging floors has an old-fashioned name, Betty, like you'd never expect with her purple-tipped spikes. She's buff as the boys' wrestling coach, and she spends a whole lot of time on Craigslist, if you catch my drift. She's in English, where they put all the troublemakers I've learned over the years. So good, she's feisty. Let's ask her to trivia night. My partner Lucille and me been begging professors to go to trivia night at St. Casimir's for as long as we've been cleaning. Because that's a scam around here. You get you some PhDs, you got you a winning trivia team. Not that they could do it without us. Lucille and me got to cover TV shows, sports teams, astrology, politics, radiology, and quantum mechanics. But you can count on pretty much any professor, no matter what they claim to teach, for geography, cooking, naturally, gardening, the kinks, and foreign languages. When they're doing accents, it's embarrassing to be even sitting at the same table with them. Betty says, sure, she'll give the St. Cas Trivia Night a whirl. I suggest the Polish supper first, but as soon as Lucille and me are salivating over the brats, Betty laughs. She only does raw food anymore. So that explains the torture machines taking up all the counter space. Something sweet about her tattoos. She's got one pumping hard on her right bicep that says, Dewey Dale forever. Makes me do what I've never done before and tell her, just come on over the house. We'll eat there first. Why, thank you, ma'am, she says. And am I imagining, or is that a Sarah Palin-sized wink she gives me? Lucille digs me in the ribs on the way out to the truck. What you gonna make that's raw? I'm thinking anybody can make coleslaw and put out a bowl of walnuts, which is exactly what I do come Saturday night. Betty says, perfect, my favorite meal. I sure to hell hope she's not making fun. And then she holds up the bottle of wine she's brought. Probably she sees the looks on our faces because now she hoists this corkscrew like she thought I wouldn't have one. It's not that, I said, meaning I prefer a no-fuss American beer to a mediocre Pinot Noir like the one she brought, but Lucille beats me to the sarcasm punch. We'd rather smoke a little crank before trivia. Betty's eyes gets as fiery as that pumping heart on her big arm, and she says, "You mean meth?" Poor baby. Once they're in Winesburg hobnobbing with the help, these professors think they're in white trash hell. I get her a Miller, and I'm sorry to disappoint her. But she's already sniffing around the living room like an overstimulated terrier and hits a few keys on the electric piano where Doug has his little statuette of Liszt. Look, I know he's sentimental. It's not my statuette. She moves on to read the walls, plastered with clippings from the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Betty says, "You're a real scholar of that stuff." "You should see her Billy Sunday room," Lucille says. And I give her the evil eye. I don't want any professors in my Billy Sunday room. But you can guess what happens next, now that all the walnuts are gone. Nothing to do but show her and make her take her shoes off first. That is white shag, and I mean to keep it that way. Betty's a good sport, takes off her socks too and digs her toes in. She doesn't even fuss when I take her beer away because Billy, bless his heart, was a prohibitionist. Betty studies the pictures like she's a scholar too. I've got them divided into baseball on one wall, hellfire on the next. On the paneling, there's a row of Billy preaching and playing together. She says, "How do Catholics get interested in an evangelist?" She thinks I'm Catholic because of trivia night at St. Kaz, but I'd rather not discuss my lack of religious affiliation with an employee of St. Meinhof's, which pretty much owns Winesburg, so I just laugh. Lucille thinks she's helping when she says, "Isabel has long talks with Billy." Betty gets it out of me that I've been known to hold a seance or two, and Billy Sunday has been known to make an appearance. I never would have let it get this far if she hadn't dug her toes into my carpet so pretty or given me that wink. Now she gets all tooled up. "How's my seance work? Do I turn the lights off?" Lucille's just turned them off for me. "Do I call his name?" Duh. "Do I have a Ouija board or some such?" When I say no, I call him on my iPhone. She lets out a roar of laughter, and that does it. Billy's got to get in the game and stand up for me. "Are you mocking this good lady, Professor?" he says. Not in his hellfire voice, in his gentle Jesus voice, like he's sorely disappointed. He's wearing his old white stockings uniform, which is falling off him. He lost so much muscle before he passed. I suppose he might even not know he comes back as a little old man. "No, sir," says Betty, her voice a trembling, beads of sweat dancing on her upper lip, where she has the lightest little mustache, kind of fetching. Bill revs up to hit her with, "Have you been saved, Professor?" which could be downright embarrassing to all of us. So I get him chatting instead about the Winesburg Wildcats. His Christianity doesn't stop him from being nasty on that subject. Lucille has meanwhile helped Betty sit on the couch, but she looks like she's about to topple off and hit the floor. "Don't you worry," I say. "It's just Billy Sunday." Her lips turn blue, and I don't know how to tell Billy it's time to make himself scarce. He's so sensitive in his old age. Betty commences to mutter, and we all lean forward to hear, "All this religion." Billy gets his stern look on, but Betty's trash-talking religion must have hurt him bad because he's fading too. "Wait," I call, maybe to both of them, thinking I can bring them together after all. But before we know it, Lucille and me are sitting in the dark with a passed-out Betty, and Billy Sunday departed back to Winona Lake. My iPhone buzzes to beat the band. Probably Douglas is texting me. "Go away," I hiss to the phone, but Betty hears in her sleep and sits halfway up like she's seen a ghost. "I'll go," she says into the darkness, and Lucille and me say, "We need you on our trivia team. The pot's almost up to $700. Betty says she knows she shouldn't have come here, but I know she doesn't mean my house. She means Winesburg. "Don't get all stuffy," I tell her. "We might surprise you." And we help her to her feet and get her out the room till she's looking more like her feisty self. Safe back in the kitchen, I do mention that a living wage and a little time off would be appreciated, and I admit I do it in a kind of spooky, seance-y, Midwestern way. She perks right up and says, Isabel, I used to be the graduate student union rep. And then she gives me another one of those winks, and I know we're going to win that trivia pot together. We all three go marching out my house with our arms linked, singing, Solidarity Forever. And Betty allows, she really wasn't expecting any Field of Dreams crap in my house. I'm hurt the way Bill was hurt, but I'm used to it. Professors. No social skills whatsoever, which is why they ended up doing what they do.